Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. I am Martina Lily and today we are going to do a full face of Refy Beauty. I have every single makeup product that they have released and I have tested them for quite some time now and I really know how I feel about each of the products. So if that sounds interesting to you guys, go ahead and do the YouTubey things like subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get into it. You guys are zoomed in nice and close. 4K, no filters, and everything I use on my face today will be linked in the description box down below for you guys. If you do shop through them though, they are affiliate links, so thank you so much, I appreciate it. There will also be timestamps if you're only interested in certain parts. Essentially these full face videos for me are me testing as many of the brand products as I can physically afford or test due to, there's usually some products in a brand, for example, I can't test because of ingredients or something. However, that is not the case with Refy. I am fairly certain I have every single product that this brand has released, excluding the makeup brushes. I've done a few of these full face reviews before, so I'll link my playlist for them down below if you want to check out what other brands I have done a full face review of. So I'll be going along and demoing the makeup, and as I go along as well and explain each product and my thoughts and all that kind of stuff, I also insert like a slideshow or like a little screenshot of the brand's actual claims of the product and like the price details and the product product amounts and all that kind of stuff. So I don't kind of mention that verbally, but there is like a info graphic, if you will. Just a quick little brand overview. From my knowledge, Refy Beauty was started by Jess Hunt. I don't actually know anything about Jess Hunt. I'm going to be completely transparent with you on that front. From my understanding, she is a very, very successful, and from what I can see on her Instagram, and a very aesthetic influencer. I don't know if she has a YouTube channel or anything like that though. My interest in Refy didn't start from Jess Hunt. It very much started from the products themselves intriguing me, and so to me, it's a makeup brand, not a makeup brand from an influencer I follow, if that kind of makes sense. Refy's kind of philosophy is all about simplifying beauty, and their philosophy basically says that they're committed to creating products and a community that inspires you to be your most confident self. We develop only the essential products that are easy to use and multifunctional, that work for your on-the-go lifestyle when simplicity and efficiency are key. And I even think that seems to really come across in like Jess Hunt's aesthetic as well. I believe the brand launched in 2020, and then since then it's really gone pretty gangbusters in terms of their products. Like, they've released consistently more and more products, and they pretty much have a product nearly in every category. There are a few categories that they don't, for example foundation and eyeshadow. So in those categories, like, or wherever there's a category that they don't have a product, I'll just use something else. But it's pretty comprehensive. And I believe Jess Hunt also was famous for like her brows. Like, she has flawless, like fluffed up feather brows, and so she did start with her brow products and they were kind of like the cult fave, and then it's expanded from there. So the first product we're actually going to start with is the Lip Buff, and this is basically a lip serum and a lip exfoliator all in one. You will notice, and I think this is something that you either like or you absolutely hate, but all of Refy's packaging is very much following the same aesthetic. It is very simple. It's in kind of a dark gray matte, or this kind of, what color do you even call this? Khaki beige matte. It's all very simple. It's all matte, minimalist. There's no fuss, there's no bling to it or anything like that. So for me, I actually quite enjoy it, just because I wouldn't say it's like my favorite packaging in terms of like looking at, but I do appreciate when a brand has an aesthetic and sticks to the aesthetic. But I know there, like, some people really, really dislike the packaging, and that's enough to deter you from trying the brand. Hopefully this video might change your mind, spoiler alert. This is the Lip Buff, and it is a screw lid, and it has this kind of spiky top here. I don't know if you can see that, where you kind of squeeze the tube and the lip serum comes out. Let me squeeze it. Hopefully you can see. So the lip serum kind of comes out, and you just, scrub it on your lips, exfoliate it, and then the serum is also going to like hydrate it as well. Now, in terms of the performance of this lip exfoliator, I really enjoy it. I actually really like this because I like that it's just on the go and easy to use. It's also very fuss-free and messy-free. It's not an exfoliator that I feel like I've got to have like a cloth handy or anything like that. Like I really can do it at the start of my makeup application, quickly exfoliate my lips, and then I can just kind of pat in the remaining serum, which is just going to add an extra level of hydration to my lips. So I actually really do like this. If a lip exfoliator, especially just a simple fuss-free one, is one that you are looking for, I do recommend it. The serum in here isn't going to be so hydrating that you can like forego the lip balm, for example, afterwards. Like I still feel like I want to put a lip balm on now, but it does do a really good job of exfoliating my lips. The other lip product that I'm going to apply before we get started on our base makeup is the lip blush. Now apparently this is like an award-winning product. So it's quite like, it's a little product right here, and then this is what it looks like. I have the shade Bloom. There are about 8 different shades of this particular product, so there's kind of a shade to suit everybody. And essentially this product is described as a sheer tinted blurring lip balm. From what I can deduce from reading the description and everything, the intention of this is a lip balm that isn't sticky in any way. So for those of you that might not enjoy a lip balm because of that glossy feeling, that slip feeling, and you want something that's more of a velvety feeling, if you will, this is the lip balm you want to go for. It definitely does hydrate the lips. I don't personally think it hydrates the lips like a lip oil or a more like a lip balm that's emollient and not this kind of like matte blur finish is going to, just from me. But it definitely will still hydrate. And so for those of you that don't want that glowy feeling or that glowy formula, this might be a balm that is for you. So that is the lip blush in Bloom applied. This is a very natural, like my lips, but slightly pinker type color. So it's a nice product, especially if you are someone that does a lot of like no makeup looks as well, that you do want just like a soft like blur to the lip. I think then you'll really like it because it is a very soft, natural type product on the lips, and it does add that little bit of hydration to them. It kind of feels like a more nourishing and slightly less velvety, like Givenchy sheer velvet feel. So if you've ever tried the Givenchy sheer velvets, it feels like a more lightweight version of that, but does have more hydration than those lipsticks. So this is the kind of product that's going to be for you. It's like exactly what you're looking for, or it is just not for you at all. For me, it's kind of just it's a not for me. It's not that it's a bad product at all. It's just, for me, it's not something like, I prefer more of a lip oil or a glossy lip personally. And so for this one, for me, it's just like an easy skip. We're going to move on to our base now, and we're going to start with primer, and we're going to start with my favorite product from Refy. It's actually one of my most favorite makeup products I have tried this year, hands down, out of all of them. And I know that's a really big call, and it is the Refy Eye Balm. So this is a clear eye balm. Comes like this. And it's essentially kind of feels a little bit like a clear, not sticky in any way, like Vaseline, if you will. And you apply it on your under eyes like so. And I like to apply this, usually I'll actually apply it, I usually do my eyeshadow first, so I'll actually apply it then, and then if I even want extra hydration after that, once I've finished the eyes and I'm to this step in my makeup, I'll put it on again, because I do have incredibly dry under eyes. How they describe this product is basically a balm essence hybrid, deeply moisturizing, like feels ice cold when you apply it, depuffing eye balm. Essentially, it's designed to kind of add an extra level of hydration, but also cooling and depuffing on the under eyes. And that's 110% what it does, at least for me. Just keep in mind, all of this is very much my own opinion, my experiences with the products. We're all very different, so how something works for me might not work exactly the same for you, that kind of a thing. So just keep that in mind, check out other reviews and stuff. Also, I'm not a makeup artist, just a makeup lover, sharing what I think, okay? For me, because I have incredibly dry under eyes, this has been a game changer. And I still use an eye cream. This is just an extra added step to apply as a primer under my makeup that really just keeps another level of hydration on my under eyes, but it doesn't add any greasiness or like heaviness. Like you don't feel like you've got anything extra on your under eyes, and it doesn't impact the products that you put on top of it in any way, shape or form. It just adds this nice little extra barrier of hydration and cooling on the under eye, and I just find the wear time and the appearance of the concealer on my under eye throughout the day wears so much better than when I don't use this. I just find my concealer, like, sometimes my concealer can just look like a dry desert under my eyes no matter what I do, and no matter the concealer, it just doesn't matter. It's because my under eyes are so dry that I just find that this actually really stops that from happening and just kind of keeps my under eyes looking plump. And I really do find the cooling helps to kind of like depuff my eye area. Like I said, truly hand on heart, this is like honestly my favorite product I have tried this year. It's so good. I will say if you have oily under eyes, I don't think it's a product that you will need, but if you do have dry under eyes like me, I do think it's really worth a look in. Moving on to face primer, Refy has two. So they have the first one that they brought out, which was the Glow and Sculpt, and then this one is the Blur and Hydrate. So I'll put Glow and Sculpt on one half of my face and then we'll do Blur and Hydrate on the other side. So let's start with the Glow and Sculpt, and this one I got because I really couldn't help myself with this applicator. So it's like this little rolly applicator, kind of like one of those like jade rollers, if you will. And basically this primer is designed to be it's kind of like a serum based primer. It adds a lot of hydration to the skin, and it's kind of like that glassy skin effect to the skin. So if you have like oily skin, even combination skin, you might want to tread carefully. Dry skin, you're gonna love this. And then the roller is again designed to like depuff and kind of like sculpt the face a little bit as you go along. Now, is it super hygienic? Probably not. You probably want to kind of like keep it clean. And if you're a makeup artist, this is probably a nightmare. But for me, I actually really enjoy applying this primer, and the rolling feels so nice on the skin. So let's apply it. You just kind of like squeeze until there's some product that comes up. See how you can see the product there? And then we're just going to put it on one half of the face. And this does feel very cooling and refreshing on the skin, I will say. I feel like you can instantly see the glow and that glass skin that it's given on this side, that extra hydration. It has an ever so soft tact to it as well, so it's not like a slippery moisturizing primer where it feels like your products are going to slip off the top of it. It does have a slight tack to it, so it does feel like your products are going to like grip to it and adhere better throughout the throughout the day, sorry. Again, like if you are someone that does not like a glow in any way, you need to stay away from this product. But if you are someone that loves a glowy primer and a hydrating primer, you are going to love this product. It is actually absolutely beautiful for that. And for those of you that have really dry skin that just love that extra plumped upness, I think you'll really like this. And I do enjoy that the tact that it gives to the skin really does cause the foundation to like adhere and prolong the wear time of it. Now we move on to this one, and this one is the Blur and Hydrate primer, and similar to the Glow and Sculpt, this one also has an awesome like applicator. I really like that Refy does these kind of cool little things. So this one has a cooling metal applicator, which actually honestly feels so lovely on the skin. And then it's kind of like a white product. Let me do this. So as you can see, it like squeezes out there. This primer is basically designed to like blur imperfections without mattifying the skin. It's supposed to control oils without like stripping the skin. It does have hyaluronic acid in it, and it's also supposed to feel like a cloud-like gel on the skin, which I do think that actually is all quite accurate for a description of this particular primer. And then the metal applicator, sorry, is also designed to like depuff the skin. So let's apply this. I don't actually really use the metal applicator in terms of like, I guess you could apply it like this and then use the metal applicator, like rub it all in. I usually just kind of draw someone and then blend it out with my brush. Now I will say with this one, it's blurring in the sense of like a very, very soft blur, but it's not gonna like minimize pores or anything like that. See how you can see there's a lot more shine on this side than this side, but you can still see quite a bit of like my texture and my pores and everything is still coming through here, but it's just this side is like quite glowy and dewy, right? Whereas this side is a bit more subdued, but it's not matte. So that's kind of the difference between the two. So if you have oily skin or combination skin, you're probably gonna like this one a lot more. And I do tend to reach for this primer quite a bit. I actually find this is quite nice underneath foundations when I'm like, when my skin's feeling a little bit dry, especially on the outer portions of my face. I'm always kind of oily in here, but I do want to keep that hydration throughout the day, even though I'm combo. You know, sometimes, I don't know if you guys get that with like sometimes with your combination skin, that you can still feel like you're just like dehydrated even, and that's usually why I'm more combo, right? Because you tend to get oilier when you are dehydrated. Anyway, I digress. So I like this one to kind of keep the hydration at like plumped throughout the whole day without like getting super oily and dewy. So actually I do really like this one, but I really like this one when it's like the middle of our winter and it's cold and my skin's dry, and it's gonna like add that extra plumpness to it and that hydration. I wouldn't say that either of these primers are my necessarily like holy grail primers in my collection, but I do enjoy having them. I could see myself repurchasing the Blur and Hydrate more so than this one, but that's based off my skin type. If I had dry skin, this would be probably the one that I would actually hydrate. This one actually reminds me of the Tatcha Liquid Silk Canvas with like no silicone in it, for example. You know how the Tatcha Liquid Silk Canvas kind of feels really slippery and like that silicone dimethicone feel? So this product reminds me exactly of what that primer does, but without that silicone dimethicone feel, and I do quite enjoy that. It doesn't have an under eye color corrector yet, and I always use a color corrector no matter what. So I'm just gonna use my Natasha Denona color corrector today for my under eyes in the shade C1. Refy also does not have a foundation, so I'm going to use my Chanel Ultra Le Tint Velvet foundation today. This is actually new to my collection, but I have worn it a couple of times already and I've been really enjoying it. So I have the shade B10 for those of you that would like to know that. We are going to move on to the Refy Concealer. So I have the shade 3. It's a touch, just a touch too light for me. I probably, like if I was to do another Refy order at some point, if she releases some new products that I want to pick up, I'll probably pick up just a deeper shade to mix with it. But I find that's usually like very much a me thing, because I have darkness on the inner corners here, but then this like brown hyperpigmentation out here, and I just find I need to like mix my concealer shades to kind of create the perfect shade for color correcting and all that kind of stuff. So if you are a similar skin tone to me and you don't have that issue, I think you'll probably find this is perfect for you. The brand describes this as an eye cream, an eye brightener, and a concealer all in one. It's like a medium to full coverage concealer. I'd say a light full coverage, in saying that my expectation of full coverage I think is a lot higher than others. Like I'm like talking like blank slate kind of thing. That's my version of full coverage. This does a pretty decent job of giving you some coverage though, I will say that. They claim that it's a hydrating formula that has this like soft blurring technology in it, and it's supposed to be creaseless and all those kind of claims. You know, they usually claim a lot of the times now that concealers are basically going to do your taxes and your laundry and all that kind of stuff as well. In terms of creaseless, like if you have under eye wrinkles, like I have a couple here for example, it's always going to kind of crease in them, like that's just science. But in terms of creasing and being like a goopy move around mess, because some formulas can be like that, no, it's definitely not like that as a formula for sure. So I just like to do thin buildable layers personally. I just find for me, that builds up the coverage the way that I like it. I'm going to blend it out with my favorite concealer brush, which is the MY8 from My Kit Coat and Danessa. And this is a pretty good concealer in terms of it's not a slippery concealer, so kind of like where you apply it is where it's going to stay and blend out in, which I do quite enjoy. And it is a very thin formula. Like, I feel like you can just tell right here, like that's done a pretty good job for one layer, in my opinion, of coverage. And I like to even use this concealer on its own, which if you have been around this channel for a while, you know I quite often mix my concealers to create this kind of like ultimate formula for myself, especially for coverage. But I do feel like this is the kind of formula that I can just wear on its own and it kind of does everything I need it to do on itself. So that's one thin layer. I would call this, to me, this is like a solid medium coverage. You can still see some of my darkness and hyperpigmentation coming through. I find this to be quite a smoothing formula, and it's very lightweight. I don't feel like I'm wearing concealer on my under eyes. I'm not like trying to, like, desperate to take it off at the end of the day. I do find that this like dries down quite quickly and doesn't budge, but I will say this is not an uber hydrating formula. So for example, like the Westman Atelier concealer, the Chanel Sublimage concealer, where they really kind of keep your under eyes like plumped up and hydrated as well throughout the day as you wear them. This is not that. It's not a drying formula in my opinion, but it's just not going to add any extra hydration to the under eye. So for me, I don't mind it because it's so thin and blurring. I find it's completely fine. But if you are someone that wants that extra hydration on the under eye, it might not be a concealer for you. If you have oily under eyes, I think you'll find that this is a very, very long wearing concealer. So I'm just going to add an extra layer while we're here. I always do 2 layers of concealer usually, to be honest with you, so this is kind of how I like to do my concealer. Obviously you would tailor yours to your under eyes and what you like. Now, I always set my under eyes with powder. The only concealer I have ever had that I don't need to set my under eyes with concealer and it looks better, like it's phenomenal, is the Westman Atelier concealer. Even though I have dry under eyes, for some reason, they just turn into a hot mess if I don't set them. They just look better if I set them. So I do always set my under eyes regardless, but I think if you have dry under eyes or normal under eyes and you don't find that's an issue, like if you don't normally set your under eyes, for example, you will not need to set your under eyes with powder with this concealer. It really will just stay put for the entire day. And it's not that it doesn't stay put for me, it's just, I don't know, my under eyes just don't look as good when I don't set them with. The only concealer, like I said, is the Westman Atelier one. It's not my favorite concealer in my collection, but I do really, really enjoy having it. And I think if you are someone that struggles with like your concealer staying all day and you do not need or like those more hydrating concealer formulas, I actually think you might really, really like this one because of how thin and smoothing it is on the under eyes, and you really can build up that coverage and it creates that kind of real long wear formula. And then because it's not uber hydrating, it's going to keep any oils or anything like that at bay for you. So yeah, I personally really like this. I know it hasn't had a lot of hype from a lot of YouTubers from what I've seen, but for me, I actually do really enjoy this formula personally, but I wouldn't say it's like my all-time favorite. Let's use cream bronzer. So this one here is the shade Dune, which is the lightest shade, and there are actually 5 shades in her cream bronzer range, and she's just recently dropped a new, like, even darker shade. So that's something that I do like about this brand, is they do seem to keep extending their shade range as they kind of get more funding and can like add more products to the line, because they are a small independent brand. So this is basically a velvety finish on the skin. So if you're someone that likes a glowy, really dewy, hydrating bronzer, this isn't going to be for you. But if you like a soft, natural type bronzer product, this is going to be for you. It actually reminds me of like a cream compact version of the Westman Atelier Biscuit Contour Stick. A little bit more not hydrating, but I want to say hydrating than the Westman Atelier contour stick, because that does have kaolin clay in it. But you know how that has that real soft blurring finish to it? It really reminds me of that. All of these bronzers I believe do have warm undertones because these are a true bronzer product. I actually find this is not incredibly warm on me though. It's actually quite a nice, like, neutral warm for my skin tone personally. It's not, you know, some of those bronzers can be getting too warm toned for me. So I don't find it's like a warm tone that deters me, or I'm like it's too much, but it isn't a contour. So just keep that in mind if that's what you're looking for. So I just like to take this with a brush. Lately I've been really liking it with my BK101, and I just kind of like stamp it in here, and then I just usually put any excess product on the back of my wrist here. That's just kind of how I do it. And actually I always start with my double chin here and I just kind of like stamp it around. This is the kind of formula as well, if you want to, you can put this over powder. You'd obviously tread carefully to not like move your product around or whatever, just like you would when you do cream blush, which I'll show you. But it is, because it has that soft velvety kind of finish, it would go over powder as well really lovely, or it does. I have actually tried it before. So I just kind of like to stamp it around and see how it's like a nice kind of bronzer shade for me. Not too warm tone. I actually really like it. So that's one half with and without. And I just lightly stamp it in, and it kind of just honestly blends itself. Actually, you know what else this formula reminds me of as I'm saying this? The NARS Cream Laguna bronzer, which is one of my all-time favorites. That's exactly what this reminds me of as well, especially with how easy it is to blend. I always like to do it across here just to make it seem like I've been to the beach. So that is the cream bronzer, and I love it. So I think you can just even kind of tell, hopefully it's showing on camera, it doesn't add any extra thickness or heaviness to the skin. It feels like it's just honestly blended straight into my foundation, and it was like I just applied one product that kind of went on like this. And I really do love how soft and blurring it is on the skin. It's also not sticky feeling, so if you don't like to set your face, you're not going to constantly feel like you've got a sticky face throughout the day. It's really a really nice formula, and I think it's incredibly underrated personally. Now Refy does have a face powder, however I don't like to use the powder on my under eyes. I usually use, if you've been around here, you know I use usually a separate powder for my under eyes and then another powder for my face. And that's because I have dry under eyes but an oily face, you know what I mean? Anyway, so I'm just going to set my under eyes with my Make under eye powder, or just my Make powder. I use it for my under eyes. And this is just an MY3. Just going to press it in here. Let's set the rest of my face now, and this is the Refy Skin Finish Water-Based Powder. They have two shades. I have the shade 1 Translucent, and it comes with like your little cap and then your powders inside with a mesh here. Now this is a unique powder. This is actually a water-based powder. So when you apply this onto the skin, it's actually gonna almost feel like you're applying water to your face. Now I have another powder like that in my collection, which if you've been around here, you know I scream from the rooftops how much I love it, which is the Face Atelier Glass Skin Powder. It's phenomenal. You might have also heard of like the Becca, I think it was the Becca hydrating powder or something. Becca had like a water type powder as well back in the day, Becca Cosmetics. So this is similar to those powders. The brand kind of describes this powder as like a cooling, blurring powder that minimizes pores and gets rid of unwanted shine, but still leaves your skin looking natural, so not like ultra matte. And the formula kind of like keeps your skin hydrated throughout the day without kind of like letting oils come through. And I do actually think that's quite an apt description for this powder. So how I like to use it is I like to take my powder puff. So this is just an LH Cosmetics powder puff, and I just pick up some of the product. I personally don't recommend using a brush with water powders just because of the way that it applies, or the way that the formula kind of attaches to the skin with that kind of watery feeling. I have used a brush before and I just found it made it kind of a bit streaky. So I pick up some, and when I say press it into the skin with a light touch, like just lightly tap it in around your face, because you don't want to I know I'm probably scaring you. It's not a hard powder to use. It's just a little bit of a different kind of application process than another powder where, so for example, if I was just using a normal loose powder like the Laura Mercier, I could just pick it up and go boom, 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 and it's just gonna like press into the face. But because this does have that water ingredient in it, and it does kind of feel like you're putting water on your face a little bit, you just want to press lightly so that it's not going to kind of move, or like you don't want to like push too hard into the skin where the water might like react. If you just use a light touch, the water's not going to react at all. So you don't need to be scared, just mindful. So that is the powder applied. Now I feel like you can already tell I am blurred. I feel like this is like filter-like, which is exactly how I like my powder to be. Now this feels so lightweight on the skin. It really doesn't even feel like I have any powder on at all. And it has mattified, but not mattified where I look dry or like uber matte. It really is kind of just a soft, natural matte finish. And in terms of the wear time of this powder, I actually think it does a really, really good job. Now, my Face Atelier Glass Skin powder, for example, that actually lasts a lot longer than this one, but that one is more mattifying. So when I apply my glass skin powder from Face Atelier, I definitely, for the first hour, it is like mattifying on the skin, but because of that and my combination skin, it really extends the wear time of my makeup. Whereas this one is a little bit more natural, a little bit more hydrating on the skin than that one. And I do think that this is really nice for those of you that don't need to have your makeup wear for like 16 hours a day, for example, or you have dry normal skin, more mature skin, or you just like a more hydrating type powder. Don't get deterred, oily skin peeps, or like combo skin peeps, when I say hydrating, because it's still, you can still tell, right? Like it's still going to set your skin. It's just not as mattifying as say the Face Atelier Glass Skin, for example, or even the Chanel loose powder. Even though they're different formulas, it's not as mattifying. It's much more natural powder and it feels a lot more lightweight. Now, if you have combo skin or oily skin, I would just suggest applying a little bit more powder in like the thin layers. So for example, now if I was to like go in with more of the powder and kind of just like reset through my T-zone here, just to like extend the wear time around the areas that I know I'm gonna have oils coming through, that's again gonna extend it. But for example, I can just do the one layer that you saw me do, and that's gonna last me for about 8 hours and the makeup's gonna look completely untouched. I actually really enjoy this powder, and I think again, if you are someone that finds maybe like, if you find the Laura Mercier Ultra Blur too much for you, like too mattifying, if you find the Chanel loose powder too mattifying for you, for example, this might be one that you will really, really enjoy, because it does feel very lightweight, and it really does, especially as your skin warms up to it, it really just makes your skin look your skin but better, and just that natural finish. It doesn't have that powdery finish to it at all. So it is really, truly quite a lovely powder. Now we are up to brows. I have all of the brow products. So let's talk about the brow pomade first. So this is the brow pomade in the shade Medium. And on this side, you get the kind of thin angled brush, and then you unscrew the bottom bit here and you get the pomade. So I kind of like it because it's very small and thin, and like for example, when I have to travel, like just throwing it in my makeup bag, it takes up no space at all. So I do like that. The only thing in terms of like the packaging that kind of I don't super love, but I also like at the same time, it's like a weird thing, is just trying to get the product out of here, especially as you get lower and lower, can get a little bit finicky. But overall, I actually kind of quite enjoy how the product is used and the packaging. This pomade is actually a really nice kind of beginner friendly brow pomade, for example. So I don't know if you guys were following makeup back in the day when Anastasia Beverly Hills released her brow pomade, and we kind of all went through that real like block brow period because we really didn't understand how to use the brow pomade, and well, not all of us, but some of us, and it really is one of those products that was so intensely pigmented you just needed to really tread carefully. I find this is a nice beginner friendly pomade. It's not going to be like too crazy or intense on the brows where you're just like, oh my gosh, I've created a block brow. That's honestly kind of how they've designed it when you read the claims on the website. So I'm just gonna brush through my brows first with a spoolie. I just kind of like pick up some of the product, and I just like to start by shaping. So I'm not going to talk through too much of this because I can't talk with my brows and do them at the same time, but I kind of like start, I use the pomade first to like shape and kind of fill in my brows because I like how this brush is really thin and angled. And then I kind of just like fluff it through like so, and I get my little spoolie now, and see how that's just like a really fuss-free, easy product right there. Now my brows never look the same. They always look like very distant family members that haven't ever actually met, so don't judge me. So that's the brow pomade. I really like that. That's the shade medium, if I didn't say that before. I like how it kind of also fluffs through my brows and like kind of makes them appear a bit thicker. And I just really like how fuss-free and easy it is to use, honestly. Now, they also have a brow pencil, and this has to be one of the thinnest brow pencils I've personally ever tried. I never tried the Huda Beauty micro pencil, but for me, this is the thinnest one I have ever tried. So that's it right there. It is so teeny tiny, and then you get a spoolie on the other end. I have the shade medium in this as well, and this is so thin for me that I only like to use this to like fill in little hair strokes. So if you're someone that does your brows and only does like the really thin little hair strokes, this is actually going to be a pencil you really enjoy. Usually if I use a brow pencil, I like something just a little bit thicker. I've actually been really enjoying the Patrick Tar brow pencil lately, but I like that, and I like, say, the Makeup by Mario brow pencil, or like the Goof Proof from Benefit, for example, just because I like to quickly do my brows. But if you like to do those really thin, see that like the little hair strokes, then this is the brow pencil for you. Absolutely. So I don't even know if you can tell the difference I made, but it really does create these little micro ones. Now it's very pigmented as well, kind of like the Victoria Beckham brow pencil, so just tread carefully and do not use a heavy hand. Sometimes I'll actually, the way that I'll use this brow pencil is I'll put my tinted brow gel through first, and then I'll just go in and fill in the spare spots with this brow pencil instead of using like the brow pomade and the pencil. Usually that's how I'll use it, but I wanted to show you both for the review. Now I like to go in with a brow tint. And I like to use a brow tint to kind of just like add a little bit of thickness and fullness to my brows. So this is the Refy Brow Tint. I have the shade Deep Brown, and this is like the toilet brush one. It's quite a funny little applicator. See the little round one? I don't know, it reminds me of a toilet brush. Now this is a water-based, non-permanent kind of brow, I don't want to say it's a tint. It's like a lip stain kind of formula for the brows, and it's very thin, but it's also very pigmented, so you do want to make sure you don't grab too much product on the brush, but it does do a really nice job of kind of like feathering the brow hairs while coating them really well. Like, I will say the brush does a great job of really coating the brows, and it was one that when I first tried it I didn't really like it. It was just, I kind of had to get used to it just because it was different to like your Benefit Gimme Brow, for example, where you can kind of just like go in and it just haphazardly kind of thickens up. This one you do, like I said, you want to just be mindful that you're not getting too much product on the brush, but it does really like coat and fluff and tint the brows really lovely. If you're using this though in terms of like hoping it's going to, well, this could just be my brows. I have very unusually like strong brow hairs that like need glue to hold them up basically. So I was gonna say, if you're using this as your brow gel in terms of like holding the brows up as well, I would recommend like a clear brow gel over the top of it, because it's probably not gonna hold them up for long. But that could, maybe that's just my experience with my brows personally, because they're ridiculously strong. But I do really like this, and I can actually see myself repurchasing this when I use it up, because I do love the kind of feathered effect it gives. Then we have the Brow Sculpt, which is a clear brow gel, but it's like a wax and a brow gel combined. It's quite unique. Now, if you lift this off, you also have an extra kind of applicator here where you can fluff and comb through the brows, and then you unscrew it and out comes the product. Now, this looks scary, right? Because it is a white product. However, this will go on white and then dry clear. You want to make sure you don't have too much product on this spoolie. You don't need a lot of this product, okay? Now, when I was saying I need like glue to hold my brows up, this is like the glue that's going to hold my brows up. This is going to like plump up my brows, and they are not going to budge until I take this out at the end of the day, okay? This is one of the strongest brow gels I've ever tried. But don't be scared when you apply it and your brows have this white tint, because the tint is going to dry clear, I promise. But just make sure you don't go in with too much. And then this is where I'll kind of like use this brush side, and I'll just like fluff it up and kind of like shape how I want them to go. So for me, this is phenomenal, because these are just going to stay like this now, and then I've got to budge. Like, and I love that. If you don't like, or you don't need a super strong hold brow gel, you probably won't like this. But if you are someone that wants that kind of like fluffed up, thickened, but like ain't gonna budge brow gel, then this is definitely worth a look in for you. I actually think the Refy brow products are phenomenal. I think these are really good brow products. I'm gonna do my eyes quickly because Refy doesn't actually have eyeshadow yet. So I'm just going to do my eyeshadow and I'll speed through it so you can see what it is. And then we'll come back and I'll talk through my thoughts on the mascara. So I've finished my eyeshadow. I just tried the Mob Beauty Cream Shadow for the first time ever, and I think it looks lovely. It'll all be linked down below if you want to know more details about it. Okay, let's talk about this Refy mascara. So this is the Lash Sculpt, and basically they say it's a lifted, lengthened lash effect for up to 12 hours. I actually appreciate that it's not like this grand claim of like 24-hour wear and all that kind of stuff, because I don't need it to be 24 hours. I want you to be realistic. How long is this gonna look good for? It also says it's a non-transfer proof formula, and it also has ingredients that will help nourish and strengthen lashes. I'm down for that. Now, the most unique thing about this mascara is its wand. So it has this weird, very thin, curved like wand that truly you are going to love or hate. I don't think there will be an in-between. I really love it. I personally have quite small eyes, So for me, this being such a thin, small wand, especially my lower lashes, is phenomenal. I find, like, for example, the YSL Lash Clash that everyone loves, the wand of that is like too thick and big for me. Like, it just smudges everywhere because it's too big of a wand for me. So I really like how thin and small this wand is. It's also another thing about this brand that I don't know if you've sensed a bit of a theme of, in terms of each of their products are quite unique to the market. Like, I've never seen a wand like this before, for example, and like the applicators that they use, so their primers, even the way that they've built, like, say, their brow pomade and stuff like that, like, it's just all kind of innovative, I find, and I really enjoy that. This applicator will take a little minute to get used to, but once you've kind of got used to it, like I said, you'll either like it or hate it. I can't talk and do this actually, so let me just apply this on this eye and then I'll show you the comparison. So that is one eye with the mascara and one eye without. Now, I actually really like this mascara. I personally like this mascara for an everyday, more natural type mascara. So this isn't the mascara I'm going to go to when I want that like Vavoom false lash type effect. Like, for that I will use something like my Chanel mascara, or like the Rabanne mascara, or the Bad Gal Bang from Benefit, for example. But this one I like for a more softer everyday mascara. I have quite sensitive eyes. This doesn't irritate them at all. I have never experienced any like flaking or anything like that with this mascara at all. It really just kind of wears really nicely until I take it off at the end of the day. I will say with this one, if you are someone that wants a thickening type mascara that like really plumps and thickens the lashes, this isn't the one for you. It doesn't give me spider lashes, like spider leg lashes, which is, I hate spider leg lashes with an absolute passion, but it doesn't like thicken and fluff like, say, the Rabanne or the Chanel, for example. So like I said, if you're someone that wants that more thicker effect, this isn't going to be for you. But if you just want like I just feel like it looks like a natural like flutter type effect on the lashes. That is the mascara all on. I think those eyes are actually looking quite nice, if I do say so myself. All right, I'm just gonna quickly apply a little touch of my YSL All Hours powder bronzer, because I always set, like, I use a cream bronzer and a powder bronzer every day, and Refy unfortunately doesn't have a powder bronzer yet. So I'll just quickly apply this. Now let's do highlighter. So this is the Refy Gloss Highlighter in the shade Topaz. I believe this is the only shade they have in their cream highlighter. And it looks very dark in the tube and like when you spread it out on the back of your hand, as you'll see in the swatch, but it really does blend out to be quite sheer in terms of the shade. And I do think this product will actually suit nearly all skin tones. I've never worked on anyone other than myself, so if you do have a deeper skin tone, let us know if you've tried this and it works on you in the comments, pretty please. But I think because of the tint that it has to it, it's kind of like the Gucci one where it has enough tint that I think it will work really well over all skin tones. Now, they describe this as a non-sticky liquid, basically. How I like to apply this is I just pump some out on the back of my hand. I've actually got way too much there, but that's okay. And I just pick it up with my sponge and I lightly tap it. Oh yeah, look at that. Lightly tap it where I want it. And basically this reminds me of a less sticky Vive Skin Dew highlighter. So if you know the Vive Skin Dew and you find that's like too sticky, you'll really like this one. Like if you want that still that same effect, because that's exactly what this is. And look how natural it is. It truly is such a natural glow from within highlighter. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, if you're someone that wants that highlighter from the gods, like bling bling, like you can see it from space, it's not going to be the product for you. Sorry. It's very, very like I'm just glowing ethereally, naturally from within. But I love that. It's very natural. It's not sticky. Like you can feel a slight tact here, but it is not like if my hair brushes across my face, it's not going to stick to my face or anything. It just melts so beautifully into your skin, and like you saw, I've already powdered, so it goes really, really well over powder as well. And I really like it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I can see myself repurchasing this highlighter if I use it up, just because of how subtle and natural it is, truly. Normally I would set my highlighter as well with a powder, just because that's how I like to do it, like thin layers from cream to powder to really extend the wear time of my makeup, sorry. But for this review, I will just leave it because, oh, like look at, I think that looks gorgeous personally. Now let's talk about blushes. So Refy has a little cream blush, which FYI, they are very, very small. I was not expecting them to be this tiny when I got them. I actually have the shade Citrine and I have the shade Rose, and they are absolutely beautiful. So that is what they look like inside. You get a little mirror as well, and there's like 7 shades in total, and I think she just keeps adding shades to this, to be honest with you. Now this being so small, don't let it deter you, because this is highly pigmented, so you only need a really small amount. Like this is going to last you a really, really, really long time because of how highly pigmented these are, which is also a really good thing. Like if you know going into it it's highly pigmented, so if you're pale like me, you just use like less is more, right? But it's also good that it is more highly pigmented in that way, because it's going to translate across a lot more skin tones. They're going to be able to use it, kind of like the Danessa Yummy Skin blurring blushes, sorry. So this is basically a natural dewy finish on the skin. However, I don't find that to really be the case, because a dewy finish is not for me in a blush. I do not like that. I find this to just be a natural finish personally, but I will apply it and we'll show you. I like to normally mix Citrine with Rose together to kind of create a more nudie pink, if you will. Citrine on its own is a little bit too intense for me, to be honest. I was very ambitious picking this up. Mixed together, they look absolutely phenomenal. Truly, they look absolutely phenomenal. But I will just use Rose today, just because I don't want you to think you have to pick up 2 blushes if that's what you're looking at to get that specific shade. So we'll just use Rose so you can see what that looks like on the cheeks. Citrine is on its own is just a little bit too deep. If you have like medium up skin tone, it will look absolutely perfection on you. I just like to pick it up with the bottom of my sponge, and I just kind of go directly in, and then I always stamp it on the back of my hand first, just to make sure that it's not like got too much product on there, because you can always add more, you can't take it off. And I just lightly, now I've already powdered as well, as you know, so it does go really well over powder. And like, look at that. This rose color is gorgeous as well. It's such a nice everyday little pink. So I'm going to build it up just a touch more so you can see it a bit more clearly. Oh gosh, such a pretty color. Look at that. Isn't that so pretty? I hope it's coming across how lovely that is on camera. And it's like, I feel like, can you tell, like it's not sticky, but can you see how it's not, I don't find this a dewy finish. I personally find this a natural finish, which is great for me. I don't want a dewy finish. But if you're going into this really wanting that like plumped up, dewed up type finish, you might be really disappointed. Oh, I love that. I think that's absolutely beautiful, and like quite blurring and just so thin and natural on the skin. I mean, I'm obsessed. So yeah, these are a massive win to me. They're also very, very long wearing, I personally find. I think normally I would set this with a powder over the top as well, but even without it, I do find that this lasts like my entire work day. I don't feel like by the end of the day, I'm like not looking for the blush. It's still there. I find it wears really, really well, and it doesn't like, because it says it's a dewy finish, it doesn't enhance any oils or anything like that in my skin. I just find it to kind of look like this the whole day. It looks absolutely lovely. Now let's set the face. So this is the Refy Face Setter, and they have designed this setting spray to be a cross between a skincare mist as well as a makeup lock-in spray, and they've also designed it to work really well with their particular like cream and powder products. It also says that this is infused with a duo of polyglutamic acid and arginine face setter, so it helps to instantly hydrate, plump and firm the skin while supporting the skin barrier to leave the skin more protected and hydrated with every use. So whether or not that's the case, I don't actually know, but that's what it claims. This has an incredibly fine mist, so I don't know if you can see that. Think like if you've ever tried the Benefit Pore Setter setting spray, that's what this reminds me of, especially in terms of how it feels on the skin and the way that it sprays. So I personally like to always spray mine directly onto my sponge and then just lightly tap it into my face, and that's more so just because I find it works better that way with my combination skin. But this is so fine, to be honest. You really can just do this and it's so fine. Really like the Benefit Pore Setter. So if you're someone that actually wants a setting spray that's going to lock in your makeup, melt everything in, extend the wear time, but you don't want it to add any extra like noticeable hydration to the skin. And when I say that, think for example, even just the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless setting spray, the Vive setting spray, the Lisa Eldridge setting spray, for example, even the Mario Surreal Skin setting spray. When you apply those, I personally feel like I have added a noticeable amount of hydration in some way to my skin. Like I can feel it, right? Whereas this one is very much like that Benefit Professional setting spray, sorry, where you kind of apply it and you're like, did I even do anything? Like, did that do anything at all? However, you just I just have noticed, like, from using this, that one, it melts my products in so seamlessly and beautiful into the skin, but it really does seem to make a difference in the extension of my makeup wear time, and also just helping like with my oils and everything. Like, this is a setting spray that's not gonna like add to my combination skin, my oiliness. I think if you have dry skin, I'm not sure how much you will love this. Like if you're someone that has dry normal skin that really uses your setting spray to like increase the hydration as well, probably skip it. But I think if you're someone like me who has combination oily skin, this might be really worth a look in. I've actually really enjoyed using this setting spray, and the more I use it, the more it grows on me. Like I would repurchase it, for example. We are on the home stretch. We just have lips left. So firstly, the Refy, let's call them lip liners. They're kind of a multi-product between, I guess, a lip liner, lipstick, liquid lip kind of vibe. The lip sculpts from Refy. Okay, I feel like you can tell that I'm obsessed with them just because I already have 3. So I have the shade Fawn, which is like a deeper, slightly more warm tone brown. I have the shade Taupe, which is my perfect everyday kind of brown shade. And then I got a red shade because these are phenomenal and they don't budge. They are one of the most longest wearing lip products I have ever tried. You can use these in a couple of ways. You can use them as a lip liner, or you can use them as like an all over lip color. You know, the choice is yours really. And I use them both ways interchangeably, to be honest. And one of the things that makes these special is, so on this side you have the lip crayon, and it just kind of, you know, you twist it up. So, you know, and it's a nice thin lip crayon as well, so really perfect for a lip liner. And then on the other side you have this gel, and mine's kind of gross and goopy because I've used it so much, but it's a clear gel, and you either line your lips and pop the gel over the top and it will set in your lip liner, or if you've colored in your whole lips, for example, and then put the gel over the top, it sets your lip sculpt for the entire day. Like it's not going to budge at all whatsoever. It just sets it in. But the clear gel that you apply over the top is nice and hydrating. Now it's not glossy, it's completely like matte, but it doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't like add texture to the lips. Like it doesn't give you butthole lips or anything like that. It feels like lightweight and cloud-like on the lips. And yeah, as I said, like hydrating, like soft and just like smooth and silicone-y type feeling, but it really sets the lip product in. I've also actually used, like, say this is a lip liner and then put a normal lipstick over the top and then set it with the gel as well. And that has also really extended the wear time of my lipstick as well. So I love these. I love the extra gel, and I love the way that the gel feels on the lips, where it's not sticky in any way, shape or form, not drying, and just kind of feels like it's not there. So I'm going to line with Taupe because that's my favorite shade. And I truly love this shade. Usually I will just honestly color in my whole lips with this and then set it with the gel, but I do want to show you guys the lip blurs as well. I am gonna just set that with the gel just so you can see. And you just kind of let it sit for 30 seconds and then you can carry on doing the rest of your look. One of the newer products that Refy has released is these blur liners. They look kind of like a crayon, honestly. And I have two shades. I have Opal and I have Stone. So a lighter brown and a darker brown. I pretty much have a type. The claims of this one is kind of like, it's a liner that you will create a naturally fuller lip. And like the unique domed shape of the crayon essentially is supposed to hug your lip line and then blur as you apply it. You know, no need to like kind of diffuse the lip liner at all. It's like a soft matte finish. It's supposed to be a creamy, comfortable, non-drying formula. And the shades are kind of inspired by like different lip tones. So there should be a shade that looks quite natural to most skin tones. It's not saying it on the website anymore when I read this, but I remember when these got released, they did claim them to be really long wearing, which is actually one of the reasons why I was super excited to pick these up. However, I do not find that to be the case. These are not long wearing at all, and I'm going to show you. So for example, if I draw this on, so see that right there? Okay, I've just drawn that on. Watch this. Oh, let me see if it's going to focus. I have nothing on my hand. See how quickly that just blended away to quite literally nothing? That's what happens when you put these on the lips, truly. They just blur away to nothing. You just need to constantly reapply them. I also don't find these to be hydrating on my lips. I have sensitive lips, so keep that in mind, but I just don't find these to be that hydrating on the lips. These remind me quite a lot of the lip blushes, like the first lip product that I put on, the balm-like one, but not as hydrating. But that's what these remind me of. So yeah, these were a disappointment, unfortunately, for me. I really wouldn't recommend these at all unless you are someone that just wants a non-long wearing, I guess, lip blur type product. But for me, these are definitely an easy skip, which is a shame because I really thought these were going to be something I love. But the lip sculpts for me far outweigh these ones. So this is the shade Opal. And I'm just going to apply this like a lipstick because honestly, that's kind of what I think it is. So as you can see, it's not an uber pigmented product, but maybe that's perfect for you. And they do claim these to be lip liners, so you know, and I guess like a blurring lip liner, so that's probably why. You won't get a precise line with this applicator for your lip line, so it's really like, I guess, for someone that just wants a I don't know, someone that just wants to put a lip product on that's not actually a lip liner, in my personal opinion, especially because I don't find these to be long wearing, so they're going to fade away quite quickly. I would just describe these as a more pigmented version of the lip blushes, personally. But yeah, like I said, I mean, this looks pretty. It's just not going to last long at all and isn't hydrating enough for me. So combined, I'm just like, this is an easy skip for me. Another run, don't walk type Refy product is their lip glosses. These are phenomenal. So I have the shade Taupe. I honestly would love like nearly every shade in this formula. This also has a metal applicator, which I have come to realize I really, really enjoy these metal applicators on gloss because they feel very cooling and lovely on the lips. This shade is gorgeous. This actually normally lives in my handbag, to be honest, because it's tinted enough that if I'm at work and I just want to make sure I've got some color on my lips, but I don't want to have to worry about it going all over my face or whatever, it's an easy fuss-free product to put on. I also really like it because it has enough tint to look like chic and put together, but the formula is really, really hydrating. So I feel like I've also put like a bit of a lip oil on, and it is, I guess, designed to be like a glass-like gloss finish, but also have that hydration of a lip oil lip balm. So I think they've nailed it with these. These are incredible. If you haven't tried one of their glosses, I can't recommend it enough, truly. And like, look at that shade. Look, it's perfection, truly. I love this shade Taupe in particular, but I would love all the shades, honestly. This combo of the Taupe lip sculpt with the Opal blur and this gloss, it does look really, really nice, doesn't it? All right, let me go do my hair and I will zoom out and give you my final thoughts on the brand and like my wrap up on like which products I personally think are a must have and which are a skip. All right, my friends, this is the finished full face of Refy. What do you guys think? I love it. Personally, I love it. Overall, I really, really love and adore this brand. It has truly become one of my top favorite brands in my collection, and it is a brand that I'm constantly kind of seeking out, going, what newness are you bringing to the equation here? Like every brand, it has some hits and some not so hits. I don't expect that there's a brand out there that I'm going to love every single product that they release. It's just not realistic. But I think overall, the quality and the formulations of the makeup in this brand is phenomenal. And I think they're really well thought out and intentional, especially for the brand's ethos. The standouts for me, I mean, the Refy Eye Balm. That's a run, don't walk kind of situation in my personal opinion. The lip gloss, the lip sculpt, phenomenal. I really, really like the cream bronzer. I really like the cream blushes. I really like the mascara. I really like their brow products. I really like their setting spray. I really like their setting powder. I think the only products for me that are just an easy skip, and look, this is probably a very personal preference thing because I'm sure that these products, there are people out there that they would be specifically like, these are perfect and exactly what I'm looking for, is the lip blush and the blur liners. Just for me, they're just not my vibe. Yeah, they're just not my vibe, personally. I think they're a good product, especially for like if that's exactly what you're looking for, but I guess it's just not what I'm looking for. Everything else though, the highlighter, oh, the highlighter is stunning. I love it. I know sometimes the packaging of this brand can deter people, but honestly, if you can look past that, if you're someone that doesn't love the packaging, I personally do. I think the aesthetic is really nice. Just the formulations and the innovativeness that, I don't know if that's a word, but it is now, that this brand brings to their products, in my mind, is really, really worth it. Truly, if you have never checked out the brand, please do. For my Aussies as well, you can order off their website. They do free shipping and it comes pretty quick. And I presume that's quite a lot of countries that they ship like, I don't know if they ship worldwide, but I presume they ship to quite a lot of countries off their website. If you're in the US, you can get it off Sephora. If you're in the UK, you can also get it off of Selfridges or their website. But yeah, it's really a brand I recommend checking out if you never have, truly. So that is the full face review. I want to hear from you guys. Is it a brand you've tried out? Are you eyeing off? Is it something you're now kind of interested in trying? Or are you just like, nah, look, I get your opinion, but I don't want to try it. It doesn't interest me, which is also totally okay. We're all very different and that's what makes the world beautiful. Now, if you're watching till this point, you know you're an absolute legend. Thank you so, so much. I appreciate it. An extra special shout out to my Lily absolute legends. Thank you so much, as well as all of my other channel members, for supporting my channel here. I just adore you, and I hope you have the most amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye.